One, two, three, four, five. Hey, welcome back. This is Cigar Talk number 12. Alert, expats, foreigners. Yes, the embassy is advising, if you go to their website, advises foreigners and expats that come here to the Philippines to be monetarily financial and have medical coverage, either here or from the States. That's very important, expats or foreigners. Yes, you'll see as you live here, if you're a long-term resident, you need to be aware of this. This is very important. If you're leaving everything else from the States or wherever you're from to come abroad here to the Philippines, you need to have that planned. There are so many homeless foreigners here. There are so many in the medical situations that put it off because, oh, I'm coming to the Philippines, oh, everything's going to be fine. But when they find out out-of-pocket comes out of your pocket and you don't have medical insurance for emergencies, you find yourself stuck in the hospitals. And many of them legally, the hospital can detain you in the hospital till you pay it off or you sign some kind of form of debt relief. But most of the time it's called detention. Now this may happen according to the legal thing from the embassy. These are things to be aware of if you're going to leave from abroad and leave everything you have to become a permanent resident here and retire life in the Philippines. If you're a tourist, there's no problem. You're only coming here. The average tourist comes here for like 4 weeks. So all you need is travel insurance, right? And you're able to probably, if something comes down, you're able to fly back. But a lot of times you'll find out here, and the embassy here has a big list of homeless and medical failures from foreigners coming here, not being prepared. And then they reach out to all the other expats and all these other foreigners on their vlogging and want money to bail them out of their inability to be prepared to take care of themselves for their medical. Now this is important. This is an alert. This is something that you should know. Just don't get blindsided and naive watching all these foreigners vlogging about the Philippines and how beautiful it is and cause you to smoke over the one thing you need to enjoy that all, and is your health. Now you will have to determine what kind of medical health situation you have. Is it minor? Is it high? Or is it low? But this is an important thing. There are so many foreigners and expats that get butthurt when you try to explain to them that they need to be prepared. They're going to make a major move from one area to another. A lot of healthcare from the States, you can't use it here. I can't use it. So me and my asawa are prepared for that. You need to be prepared for that. That's like driving a car without insurance. Oh, I'm not going to get in an accident. I'm a good driver. That's ridiculous thinking. So it's important, expats or foreigners coming here, that you heed this message. This is the most important advice I can give you when you're going to make a major move to the Philippines. You know, how your body responds to the heat. Are you acceptable to heat? Can you take the heat? You know, I come from a state where we got 4 seasons, but I love the heat. So it doesn't bother me. I feel better about it. But you have aircon here and you have days that are nice. Like today, it's going to be about 96, but there's a nice breeze coming through the windows, so I open them all up. I don't use the aircon. But yes, this is an alert for you all that would like to hear to come to the Philippines. That is so important to be prepared for that. Just don't blindside and be so naive watching all these vloggers and how great it is here and how fun and spectacular and magical it is, that you forget when coming here, your main important thing you need if something happens to you here is insurance. You can't always pay out of pocket. Some things can be paid out of pocket, the minor things, breaking an ankle, maybe cutting your finger off, they can put it back on, sew it back on. These are all outpatient type things. But the emergencies, when it comes to severity, maybe for a stroke, maybe for a heart murmur, maybe for different things. Maybe you have pre-existing conditions. These are things you're going to want to find out before you come here. And like I iterated before, the website of the Philippines emphasizes this. You can do your own research. The embassies advise that if you're moving here, that you be prepared financially. Oh, so I can live on just $1,600 a month. Huh? Oh, really? Can you? I don't know. Depends where you're going to live. If you're going to do that, are you prepared for medical? Are you prepared for financial things that come up? Things you might have to make adjustments to an asawa that you got. You built the house, and now your funds are running down. Are you really able to take care of yourself when you're here and not rely on all these vloggers that find out that people are sick? Yeah, there's statistics. They're hard to really come up with what statistics. But when you watch these vlogs, you see many of these foreigners dying here because of the medical situations they have that they cannot take care of. They don't have the medical bills to take care of it. That's important. Think about that. You're going to make a major move from wherever you're from, Australia, UK, UAE, wherever you're from, and you're not going to be prepared medically? You're just going to put it off? Oh, I love these people that go, well, anything can happen. Well, of course, that's why I'm prepared before I come. We did our research and prepared before we came that we would have a fund or a plan that we get here that will take care of emergencies. This is very important for expats and foreigners to understand. But this is some way it gets fallen by the wayside with a lot of them come here, and then a lot of them find out they have an illness, and before it gets serious, they got to leave. Why? Because they're not prepared. They didn't plan to be here a long term, so they got to leave. They're able to leave. But you may not be able to leave. You may be here like me, a permanent resident here that's living here the rest of my life. See, we don't plan to go back. I plan to pass away here. But think about that. You're going to move to a country that's a third world country, okay? You cannot compare this country, Philippines, to the United States. You have to be aware of where you're going, what the conditions are like, what the culture is like. And I can't emphasize this enough. They just don't want to hear the truth. They get butthurt about it, because they're in a predicament where they can't afford the medical bills because they didn't come here and get insurance that pays for the emergencies. I'm okay, I'm healthy. They just plan on living their life day by day and ignoring when situations get serious. You could walk around here with a little cut on your foot because you wear thongs or flip-flops, they call them, and you may cut yourself when you're walking, maybe. Maybe you don't even realize it, and then you're walking through a puddle of water when it rains, and the water that rushes down through the streets, and it infects you get an infection. Well, now you got to go to the hospital and take care of it, right? The infection, because if it gets worse, it can get worse. So think about that. There's a lot of things. You can get dengue. Excuse me. That will put you in the hospital. And that you can die by too if you don't get the proper care. So there's a lot of things you have to think about. It's not being negative. It's being proactive. A lot of these expats in the Philippines, they don't seem to want to be proactive. So they don't talk about that a lot. They talk about all the fun they're having. You see all their vlogging and all the streets they're going down and all the girls and all these places and stuff. But they don't talk about the fact that to enjoy all that, you need your health, or you can't enjoy any of it. And that's important, and that's why I bring this vlog out today. Alert expats. Yes, It is a serious condition here in the expats, and the vlogs and videos are full of a lot of them that become homeless because they made the bad choices. And then a lot of them are in medical problems, and now they want you to do their PayPal, and they want to set up a special medical insurance thing for you guys to pay into so they can get surgery or something. Remember, it's not that I'm not sympathetic, but I didn't come here to retire to bail out expats that aren't prepared, when even the government itself tells you you should be prepared financially and medically when you come here. This is a big issue. They have a long list on that the embassy says they have about these people that don't prepare. So yes, this is just a short video to allow you expats and foreigners expecting to come here to live, except for tourists. You're only coming for 4 weeks unless you're one of those tourists that wants to keep getting extensions and pretend you're living here. You know, a tourist is a tourist visa. You can be eliminated and told to leave any time for behavior problems, and even a permanent resident. But tourists are here to have fun. They're here to enjoy, to travel, to have a good time, you know, to examine everything, see if this is a place where they want to live and bed down. So yes, I'm speaking to all you there that feel like you want to come over here. Be prepared. On the website of the Philippines, you will find out in healthcare, there are dozens of private hospitals, public hospitals, and accredited hospitals. So wherever you particularly want to plant yourself after you've given the thought and done your research where you're going to live or where you'd like to live, you want to locate a hospital that's close to you or fairly close and have a plan of action so that if there is an emergency, you can get the help you need and have the money to take care of yourself. And why is that? Because in a hospital, you pay as you go. So you're in the hospital and the doctor comes in and says, oh, we got to give you this medication. Oh, okay. Well, no. You got to have a runner. That's either your wife, your asawa, your girlfriend, or somebody to go down to the pharmacy, get your meds, buy them, and bring them back up for the doctor to give them to you. Each progression of your medical, you pay as you go. You need an x-ray. Oh, well, you need someone to go down, get the money for the x-ray out of the bank, and give it to you, unless you bring it all in at once and you assume or make an assumption of how much you think all this is going to cost, and pay as you go. Believe it or not, it's not like the hospitals in the States or where you come from where they bill you when you get home. It doesn't happen that way here. Please do your research. This is very important to have an enjoyable and successful life in the Philippines, to live peacefully and stress-free. Yes, anything can happen, but are you prepared for it? That's why you have insurance on a car. Why? Because if you get in an accident, you want to be able to use that insurance to take care, pay your medical bills, or the other person that had insurance that you got in the accident, their insurance is going to pay your medical bills. And you pay what little is out of pocket. That's important. That's very serious. I don't know how to emphasize this any more than that, but you could go online and find out lots of medical people have problems here because they don't prepare, and they are asking other expats or foreigners to help them bail them out. And that just isn't right. Now, if you're in that position and you have no choice, well, I don't know what to tell you to do. You have to do what you have to do. But is that fair? Is that fair for me to rely on the expats and foreigners to bail me out of my medical situation because I didn't come here prepared? When the embassy in a country, you're coming to a third world country and you've never been here before, and you're not going to be prepared medically in case something happens and understand the healthcare system here in the Philippines? That's a little ignorant to me, isn't it? Isn't that ignorant? Unprepared, ignorant, and not well-knowledged. So please, this is a video I'm doing to let you know that it's important that you have health care and you're financially stable enough to live here and pay for those things that come about. That's important. Now, a lot of you may get butthurt from this video, but I'm certainly telling you it's not butthurt when you get an emergency and you find yourself by yourself and then having to go online and ask all these other retirees or touristy people that you know are online to come bail you out because you have a serious life and death problem. That is just selfish. I absolutely say that. I'm sorry. I have to say that. I came here to retire with my wife here, not here to bail out and be ambulance chasers for expats or foreigners that are not prepared and they become homeless, or they don't have enough medical money to bail themselves out medically out of the hospital. That is just not, it's not morally right to put my problems on all you expats out there that will or may not help you. That's not the question. The question is, why should you put yourself in that position to begin with? So yes, this is an alert for you expats or foreigners that come here and want to enjoy the Philippines stress-free, knowing you're financially and medically secured to take care of the problem. Now, if your insurance doesn't cover you from abroad, there are insurances here through Michael. One that I found no negative information about Michael Onstead about Pacific Cross. They have different medical plans to suit your wallet and your situation. So I would look into that. You'll find him online or through other vloggers. Or PhilHealth, which is the Philippine health care for most Philippines, like Medicare in the States, or whatever program you have in your states. But in the United States, it's Medicare or Advantage Plan type thing. They pay for partial and you pay out of pocket. That's good for minor things. But for emergencies, you need an emergency plan. So don't be afraid to come here and live and enjoy the Philippines, but be prepared. This is something not talked about too much because a lot of expats, they see these videos, they see these vlogs, and they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, oh, I'm going to come there, I'm going to get me a little place to stay, and I'm going to, stay and keep getting extensions and stay there. But if you get a medical emergency that can happen to anybody, are you prepared? It's humbling, very humbling, very humbling. But we prepared. My asawa, my wife, and me prepared when we came here that we have an emergency plan if something happens. Now, we're in fairly good health. We have some medical issues. I have 2 rods and 6 screws in my back from a 2-level fusion. I don't take any medication for that. I told the doctor I didn't want to, and the surgery went beautiful. I mean, that's each person's experience. But I have to be careful, like what I lift and how fast I bend down and what I, those type things. But there could be other things that happen, You could start losing your eyesight, There's I got some food in my, sorry about that. But there's a lot of things that can happen. So you want to be aware of that, all right? So this is an important video for those of you coming here. So do your research, be responsible. Don't come here like some of these just happy-go-lucky guys that want to come here and then find out that they become homeless because they made poor choices through a Philippine girl, and they bought them a house, and now she has the house, and they have no more money, and they're living on the street. There's plenty of them here, and there's plenty of them that have hospitalization problems that can't pay their bill. And then all these expats, they reach out and try to get all these expats to help them. Is that why I came here to retire, to help other expats that made poor choices to come to a third world country? No. So it's not that I have sympathy. I have apathy. Not sympathy. I have apathy for them. Be responsible. Enjoy your Philippine stay long term, but be prepared. Just as you would have house insurance for fire and those things. Oh, it may never happen, but you have it, right? Even though you're paying for it. Or your car insurance, full coverage, not partial, but full, because you never know what can happen, right? So you want to be prepared for that. So anyway, if nobody says I love you today, I love you. Have a good day.